Larry Hogan for governor. Fellow Democrats know Ben Jealous is too extreme for Maryland.
Tonight, under arrest, the bomb suspect captured. Cameras right there as authorities bring him out, handcuffed, arrested in South Florida. As this was unfolding, more bombs arriving in the mail. The FBI late today saying these are not hoax devices. Tonight, the van taken as evidence, covered with images supporting President Trump, with targets on Hillary Clinton's face, former President Obama too. Tonight, the one fingerprint that allegedly unlocked it all. What the suspect's social media posts now reveal, and what we now know tonight about the explosives. Also tonight, our Cecilia Vega asking the president just a short time ago what he made of the images on the side of that van. Was he aware? If he'll be changing his rhetoric after what the president tweeted at 3 in the morning. The other major headline tonight as we come on the air, the nor'easter about to slam into the East Coast. From the Carolinas up to D.C., Philly, New York, and Boston. The scare at LaGuardia before the plane could even take off for passengers, the evacuation. The state of the race less than 2 weeks until the crucial midterms, and the reality check. The candidates who voted to repeal and replace Obamacare, which covers pre-existing conditions, who now say they're the ones fighting to save that coverage. Megyn Kelly's show canceled tonight after defending blackface costumes. Could she go back to Fox? What they're saying tonight.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Friday night. And we begin tonight with the capture and arrest of the man who authorities believe was behind those bombs, putting a nation on edge. The FBI today arresting Cesar Sayoc in Plantation, Florida. He now faces 5 federal charges and decades behind bars if convicted. Investigators say it was a key fingerprint on one of those devices that led them to all the others. The FBI and local law enforcement surrounding the scene this morning. His van was seized as evidence, covered in images supporting President Trump, other images too, Hillary Clinton for one, with a target on her face. Then federal authorities rushing that van to a secure area. Several more devices discovered across the country just today, new targets including Senators Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Tonight, authorities say some packages included pictures of their intended targets with a red X over their faces. The FBI making it clear tonight these were not hoax devices. ABC's Steve Osunsami leads us off from Florida on the moment of capture at an AutoZone store where the suspect was apparently shopping.
This is the face police have tied to the anonymous explosive devices mailed this week to prominent Democrats.
Signal 46 suspect at the AutoZone.
Witnesses say 56-year-old Cesar Sayoc was in line at this AutoZone store in Plantation, Florida, when FBI agents rushed in and took him down.
He wasn't yelling or screaming or flailing. He was in handcuffs, and he calmly was escorted to the vehicle. Saw him get in with no problem. And he just had that look of, okay, it's over.
Federal investigators tonight are describing a domestic terrorist with a political chip on his shoulder. The windows of the white van police say he had parked outside were covered with potential evidence, the hard-to-miss political messages supporting the president and demonizing his critics, including Hillary Clinton and CNN. Police covered the van in a blue tarp, and a caravan quickly towed it away. Authorities believe he spent some time living inside it.
He has been charged today with 5 federal crimes, including interstate transportation of an explosive, illegal mailing of explosives, threats against former presidents and certain other persons.
Sayoc was, of all things, a former road manager for male exotic dancers. And he posted videos on social media that appear to show him at the president's rallies.
You take a look at these people. You study these people.
He was one of those people on Twitter constantly posting his dislike for the Clintons, Obamas, and other Democrats. So far, police believe he sent 14 explosives to Americans who've criticized the president or were the subject of the president's anger. None of the packages exploded, but authorities made it clear today they were dangerous.
We're still analyzing the devices in our laboratory. These are not hoax devices.
Early this morning, the post office discovered a suspected explosive device sent to U.S. Senator Cory Booker. Out west, another for California Senator Kamala Harris. And in Midtown Manhattan, this was the scene today as police in bomb suits disposed of a package meant for Obama's National Intelligence Director, James Clapper. It was a busy week of IEDs. This was the piece of mail that forced the evacuation of CNN in New York.
To have projectiles, I mean, that's a Excuse me, that sounds like a fire alarm here. We'll keep you posted on that.
Reporters and producers raced out of the building.
We are outside safely. All of our CNN colleagues that we know of are outside right now. Everyone is safe.
And this was the package sent to actor Robert De Niro. A bomb containment vehicle seen here moving it down the West Side Highway. The president today congratulated investigators.
These terrorizing acts are despicable and have no place in our country. No place.
Steve Osunsami joins us live tonight from Plantation, Florida, right where the suspect was arrested, in fact. And Steve, he's now been charged, as we just heard there, with 5 federal crimes. He's expected in court on Monday.
That's right, David. It's a long list of charges, including interstate transport of explosives and threats against a president. He has not yet, of course, entered a plea at this point, but if he is convicted, authorities say he could get up to 48 years in prison. David?
Steve Osunsami leading us off tonight. Steve, thank you. And federal authorities today revealing much more about how they found their suspect and about the bombs themselves. Investigators say the devices contain materials that give off heat and energy, in their words, capable of doing a lot of damage. Investigators were concerned from the very beginning the intent was to maim or kill. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tonight on what the bombs contained.
Tonight, inside that critical moment that led authorities to the suspect. It came just 24 hours ago when police delivered a potential bomb targeting Congresswoman Maxine Waters to the FBI laboratory in Quantico. Forensic examiners carefully dissecting the crude IED quickly discovered a latent fingerprint on one of the suspected bomb's components. The FBI director telling me today,
Once I knew that they had a print, I was pretty confident that we'd be able to find the right person.
the fingerprint was scanned into a database. Authorities found a match. A suspect identified, Cesar Sayak, whose fingerprint was in the criminal justice system because of previous arrests, including from a 2002 bomb threat. And as more devices were recovered, the evidence kept pouring in. The FBI was using powerful microscopes to look for DNA evidence. According to the FBI, DNA was recovered from 2 devices, one sent to President Obama, another to Congresswoman Waters. And tonight, the FBI director warning that the devices were dangerous.
They did contain energetic material, which, if subjected to the right combination of heat or shock or friction, could be dangerous to the public.
Inside those packages he allegedly set, clues. Certain of the mailings included photographs of the target, recipients marked with a red X. Another piece of evidence boosting the FBI's confidence tonight? Prosecutors say on his Twitter account, Sayak misspelled Hillary Clinton's name, using only one L, the same way it was misspelled on the package addressed to her.
We see unbelievable work like this on TV and in Hollywood, but to see it up close in reality is something to behold.
A remarkable day to watch unfold. Pierre Thomas with us live tonight as well. And Pierre, they've made an arrest, but there's still obviously a lot more work to be done. There's still some concern tonight about whether there could be more bombs out there and where they were actually made. We don't know that yet, do we?
David, we don't. Authorities believe they have their man, but the investigation is far from over. The FBI still has to analyze those IEDs recovered today. And you're right, there are still critical questions. Where were the devices made? Was anyone else involved? And are there other devices out there already in the mail, David?
Pierre Thomas with us all week long. Pierre, thank you. Our Cecilia Vega asking the president just a short time ago what he made of all of the images on the side of that van, if he has seen them yet. And she asked the president if his rhetoric or tone will change in any way after this week. And after his tweet at 3 o'clock this morning, here's Cecilia.
Those bombs on President Trump's mind in the middle of the night. The president wide awake at 3:14 a.m., tweeting, "Funny how lowly rated CNN and others can criticize me at will, even blaming me for the current spate of bombs. Yet when I criticize them, they go wild and scream, it's just not presidential." Later, a frustrated president was back on Twitter. He wrote, "Republicans are doing so well in early voting and at the polls. And now this, quote, bomb stuff happens and the momentum greatly slows. News not talking politics. Very unfortunate what is going on." After the arrest, we asked about the suspect and those stickers on his van.
Did you see your face on that van?
I did not. I did not see my face on the van. I don't know. I heard he was a person that preferred me over others, but I did not see that.
And then?
Would you yourself pledge to tone down the rhetoric for the next few days during the campaign?
Well, I think I've been toned down. You want to know the truth. I could really tone it up because, as you know, the media has been extremely unfair to me and to the Republican Party. With all of that being said, we're winning, so I like that.
The president has yet to publicly say the names of any of those targeted this week, not even the former president and Secretary of State.
Will you call President Obama or any of those targeted to update them?
If they wanted me to, but I think we'll probably pass.
Cecilia Vega with the president just a short time ago. With us now from the White House. And Cecilia, President Trump now beginning a marathon, as we know, of campaign rallies before the crucial midterms. But he appeared to suggest to you he's not about to tone down the rhetoric.
Yeah, David, you heard him. He said he could actually tone it up if he wanted to. And today, right here at the White House, supporters in the East Room were chanting, "Lock him up." But President Trump says that he is running a great campaign. He says people love what he has been saying out on the campaign trail. David, tonight, he kicks off this final sprint, at least 13 rallies over the next 11 days.
Cecilia Vega with us on a Friday night. Thank you, Cecilia. And now a really important reality check tonight for so many of you being inundated with political ads. The race to the crucial midterm elections less than 2 weeks away now, and several polls showing that affordable health care in this country is the top concern. And a recent Fox News poll finding that 53% of registered voters have a favorable opinion about Obamacare. That's higher than President Trump and higher than either political party. It's left many candidates scrambling, candidates who have fought to repeal and replace Obamacare now trying to make the argument that they're the ones fighting to save coverage of pre-existing conditions. So ABC's Mary Bruce tonight taking the questions straight to the candidates. It's the state of the race with 11 days left.
Politicians listen closely. Republicans who voted to repeal Obamacare and its protections for people with pre-existing conditions are now claiming to embrace the popular provision.
I'm fighting to protect pre-existing conditions.
Fighting for those with pre-existing conditions.
Everyone agrees we're going to protect pre-existing conditions.
President Trump tweeting this week, Republicans will totally protect people with pre-existing conditions. Democrats will not. But that's not true. Still, here's what the president said when he came to support the Republican candidate in Missouri.
Josh Hawley will always protect pre-existing conditions.
On the debate stage, Hawley said for him, this issue is personal.
My wife and I have a young boy, our 5-year-old, who we learned this year has a hip bone and joint condition that is a pre-existing condition.
But Hawley, who is currently Missouri's Attorney General, has joined a lawsuit to overturn Obamacare that would gut protections for people with pre-existing conditions. So which is it? Do you support these protections or do you want to get rid of them?
I want to get rid of Obamacare, and I want to have the protections without Obamacare.
If you want to keep these protections, though, will you take your name off that lawsuit?
No, because I want to get rid of Obamacare. The lawsuit's
even though Obamacare keeps those protections?
Obamacare is, look, it is driving the cost of health insurance up.
Hawley's opponent, Senator Claire McCaskill, is fighting to hang on to her seat. At this event, she asked voters if they have pre-existing conditions themselves, as seen in a campaign video.
I would like everyone in the room to stand up who has a pre-existing condition or has someone that you love that has a pre-existing condition. Stay standing for a minute.
On her campaign bus, we asked the senator about her opponent.
And he insists that he is going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, even if he stays as a supporter of this lawsuit.
It doesn't make any sense.
Is he lying?
Well, yeah, of course he is. There is no pre-existing conditions that is standalone, that is going to come in and save the day for Missourians.
Mary Bruce just back from Missouri, back to her post on Capitol Hill tonight. And Mary, President Obama just a short time ago taking on those Republicans who repeatedly voted against Obamacare when he was president, now saying they're the ones, of course, trying to protect pre-existing conditions. He called them out. Take a listen.
Now that it's election season, these same Republicans are running millions of dollars worth of ads around the country saying we're going to protect pre-existing conditions.
Mary, the former president, obviously fired up about this because he was on the receiving end of years of votes, efforts to repeal Obamacare.
David, the former president clearly fed up, and we have heard over and over again from voters that health care is their #1 issue. But Republicans are clearly well aware that support for Obamacare is at an all-time high. But still, President Trump earlier this week took steps to undercut the law, a move that would allow states to pass these low-cost health care plans that could provide fewer protections for people with pre-existing conditions. David.
Right. Mary Bruce live on Capitol Hill tonight. Mary, thank you. Next year tonight, to your wallet, the stock market with the rocky end of the week. The Dow